what an incredible film. So yes, let's welcome the filmmakers to the stage right now. Sebastian. So I guess I'm gonna ask a few questions, and then we'll throw it to the audience. You know, one question that I had is, you know, the film is obviously very personal. I was wondering, A, you know, when you discovered Gus's music, and then B, when the film, you know, when the film was started.
Yeah. So we definitely have different answers for that. You know, I discovered Gus's music while working at Terry's office. I was an editor for Terry for a number of years, and so I knew Gus as Jack's grandfather because, you know, Terry's a friend of Jack's and the Womack family, and so we would look at his videos at, you know, at the editing suite and be like, oh, look at, you know, Jack's grandson. But so that's how I discovered his music, and then
we have very different stories. I think that's one reason this kind of works so well is I just got a call randomly from Gus's manager just saying, you know, I need a music video next week for this kid, check him out, like, you gotta listen to it, put it on immediately. And I'm just like, okay, what do we do? Like, and we just started filming, really, on tour, videos, X, Y, and Z. Whether it was me or, you know, another videographer that was present.
And then, you know, along those lines, you know, this is honestly not soon after his untimely passing. So, you know, what were some of the biggest challenges, you know, in making this film and, you know, making it you know, come to audiences so soon?
Biggest challenges. I mean, we started pretty soon after, you know, so it was hard to, I mean, it was really fresh for people, and a lot of the interviewees, you know, it was difficult to, they're still going through it still to this day, and, you know, always will be, but, you know, just given the time frame when we started, that was difficult. Also people's schedules, and I know Mezzi knows this for sure, corralling people, especially in LA, it was, you know, just odd hours of the night and stuff, interviews were being done, and so finding everybody, just getting a hold of them was
yeah. Just to add, we did like 100+ interviews, so just getting people to relive things, and it's almost felt like therapy. And I mean, we had Liza pretty much up with us every step of the way, and it was this kind of, I think without her it would have been impossible, really.
I just had to pee.
Oh,
yes.
Please come up, Liza.
Is there a question?
Well, just.
The question was, you know, what were some of the challenges you came in bringing this film to us, you know, so soon?
Yes, that one. And right, schedules and starting right away, and also, I mean, there was a lot of early footage, which was rescued from Hurricane Sandy. And so my Gus's other grandpa, who's dead and died several years ago, but he had used to video the boys, and so we had these. We all know from Long Beach, pretty much everybody lost their pictures and their videos and everything. But when Sandy hit, we stayed because we'd had Irene the year before, and it was going to be fine. And but we lifted all that stuff up out of the basement. My mother stood ankle deep in the water, and Gus had gone off to somewhere, disappeared in the West End.
And do y'all have any idea of like how many hours of footage y'all had? I mean, it seems like just, I would guess hundreds, but
a lot.
24 terabytes?
Yeah, we can talk in terms of data. Closer, right here, yeah. Yeah, the exact number I'm not even sure. Yeah, I can't say. A lot, yeah.
All right, so let's throw it to the audience. I'm sure there's lots of audience questions tonight. So yeah, let's go. Yes, right here.
Do I get a mic or just?
I'll repeat what you say so everyone can hear it. Yeah.
All right, for sure. From a structural and technical aspect, what were the challenges you had within using the footage within the interviews to construct the documentary? And objectively speaking, as far as Lil Peep goes, would you see him as more of a Bradley Noel from Sublime, or would you see him more of a Darby Crash from the Germs? And if not, who would you say he would most be similar to as far as a following rock star?
All right. So the question was about the structural challenges. That was the first one, and the second one is kind of who who are similar kind of sadly fallen rock stars that have gone too soon.
If Bradley Noel and Darby Crash are not applicable answers.
If Bradley Noel and Darby Crash are not applicable answers.
I mean, that's a hard one. I mean, he was his own thing. I think he was a mix. I mean, and especially, I mean, he mixed genres, and he pulled, his influences were all over the place. So I don't know, to pick one. I mean, he was his own thing, his own alchemy of these things and influences, and so, yeah. What was the first question?
Well, sort of just echo. I mean, I think it's far too easy to make these kinds of comparisons, and it's easy to say he was like this or like that, but the reality, and I think what the point of the film is to show, is that he was Lil Peep and he was Gus, and you can make those quick comparisons, but they'll never add up to really what an amazing person he really was.
I say amen to that, actually.
And I think structurally, I don't know if you want to, Sebastian, chime out structurally, but I mean, we had his grandfather's incredible letters to sort of pepper and kind of create the structure of his life in a way that, we have to be, I mean, we're sort of thankful, I guess, in a way. I mean, that was kind of from the jump. That's really gonna help, that's gonna tell the story.
Yeah. Other challenges, incorporating the interviews with I mean, there were some eras that we had more footage of than others, I guess. So that was one thing. So, early on in the editing process, we were noticing that it was harder to, we were relying more on talking heads for certain places where we wish we had footage, or maybe there was more stills than footage of other eras, it varied. So that was something that it was a process of trying to figure out, different ways of working through that. So.
Shout out Kyle.
Shout out Kyle. Kyle figured that one out. Kyle's around here somewhere. Kyle, wave your hand. Where are you? There he is. He's up in the back. Okay. Kyle, yeah. Kyle figured that one out. So, anyway.
All right. Next question, sir.
Me.
Yeah.
So did his brother decline to be a part of the documentary? Like, how was that?
I'll answer that one.
It was a question of did his brother decline to be a part of the documentary?
He has been Oscar is a very powerful guide, silent, I would say behind the scenes, and always integral part of it. But Oscar is, that's how he's chosen to be part of it.
All right, yes.
My question was, how many times did y'all call your moms while you were working on it?
The question was, how many times did they call their moms while they were working on this documentary?
I mean, walking from work and to work, there'd be calls, a number, I'm not sure. I mean, when we were in the zone, it was pretty, not a lot of calls being made that I can think of. But I don't know, how many times did you call your mom?
I too don't have a figure, but I do speak to my parents at least on a weekly basis, and if I don't, I get a call from my dad saying, I'm avoiding him or I'm not around, but I think we all try to make sure we unload some of our, what's going on in our heads to them, when we have that opportunity.
Sounds familiar. Yes, yes, sir, right here.
Hi. I thought it was really interesting starting to see the brand strategy around him, especially toward the end when his career was at a boiling point. What does Gus do in fashion? Do you think he would have taken another step and come to Hollywood to be an actor or a filmmaker? And if so, what kind of career do you think he would have in that space?
I mean, just to quickly, like, I mean, Gus wanted to be an actor, and he had it. Like, he just had this thing, and I know you have a great sort of thing to add to that. Like, he definitely wanted to be an actor and kind of do all sorts of things. He wasn't just this, I'm a musician, I'm gonna sing, and that's it. It was, what can I do, what I want to do, and when am I gonna get to do it?
Yeah, so I guess to add to that, I saw Gus perform here in Austin 3 days before, you know, to the mouth. 3 days before he passed, I was at one of his shows, and so I was so taken by him. I wanted to work with him. I wanted to cast him in a movie. That was the initial thing, and so, you know, spoke to Terry about that, and we were, you know, reaching out to him, and, you know, he passed away. Yeah, I mean, he definitely, I mean, that's what I saw in him. I saw he definitely had potential for that, and I think I read in an interview somewhere that he said that was something he was interested in, and so, yeah, definitely.
Sorry, follow-up. Is that a project you and Terry were already working on? You wanted to cast him in?
No, Terry was helping me out with some things at the beginning, but not something we were working on together per se.
But it was something you were developing.
It's something that I was developing.
Yes, right here.
Did you gratuitously save, or did he save the letters from his grandfather? Or did
I
his
did that.
grandfather-
That's me.
So, well, okay, so I was a history major, and then I became a school teacher. But my father's an historian, and so I am also a hoarder. But, you know, you save documents. And so I saved my father's letters to both of them. I have the ones to Oscar, and I have the ones to Gus, because I figured when he died, that they would have those, but it was the other way around. Sorry.
That's just what it is. It's something that moms do.
All right, I think we have time for one or two more questions. Yes, right up there.
I wanted to say that I thought you guys walked a very graceful line between just like a historical document as well as a portrait of Gus. And beginning so quickly after his passing, can you talk about maybe the conversations you guys had as it began to take shape about where you wanted it to go, and, you know, without like kind of canonizing him on its own realm and dehumanizing him for his genius, but also just presenting him as a really beautiful person.
Yeah, I mean, Mezzi said this earlier. The letters were something that we knew about pretty early on, and I thought that would create a very intimate feeling to incorporate those and tie them into the film. And so that was one thing that we knew would make it feel intimate. And you want to add more to that?
First of all, great questions. But just thank you for that. But I mean, sometime when I was sitting on a plane with Gus, I think flying into London, and we were talking about making a film, and so the documenting, I guess, the sort of let's see what's going on happened from the jump. But I think it's easy to put these people on a pedestal and to say, oh, they're geniuses and they're, that's what we should value. But I think, him being a human was what's so much more important, because all too often you just see this, this large person, but knowing who they are when they're not large and in front of everybody is kind of the truth.
All right, one more question. Yes, right here.
Do you feel as though through making and creating the documentary that after it was finished that you felt like some grief was kind of like lifted off of you?
For me? Yes, of course.
the question was, if there's a lift once the documentary was done.
Well, in terms of completing the work, yes. But yeah, I think what my dad said at the end of it is that there's an initial shock, but, and sadly, several people said, I am sorry to welcome you into the club that no one wants to be a member of when Gus died. And and one person said, it never goes away, but you get used to it. So no grief has really been lifted off, no, and it never will. But I'm very glad that we did this.
I think that is all the time we have today, but seriously, please vote on this for the audience award. There's an audience award for this, and yeah, thank you all very much for coming. Another round of applause for the film.